بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sisters. I wanted to do something very brief because I had a few questions from sisters that I'm coaching, sisters that have attended my webinars on, tips on spending more time on what matters. So this is what this is going to be about, and I really don't want it to be over 50 minutes. So, Bismillah, let's begin. So usually we hear all the time, I'm way too busy. I'm way too busy. Right. But we are busy doing what, sisters? That is the key question. Whenever, and I'm guilty of saying the same thing. I always say, oh, I'm so busy, my schedule is so tight, which it is. But it's not just enough for us to say we're too busy. We have to really be conscious of what are we busy doing. And so let's find out. You cannot just say, oh, I'm busy doing this and that. You have to really pay attention of, like analyze your days, analyze how you spend your time. And so this is what this next slide is about. This is something that I do with my one-on-one coaching clients. And we go over the different, things, activities that we tend to do. And I ask them to time themselves, right? So to just sleep, like, okay, write down how many hours they slept, the time they went to bed, the time they woke up, and try to do it for 3, 4, ideally a week, because the 168 hours that you see right here is for a week. So ideally you want to be able to do this for a week. So as you could tell, we have sleep, salah, the time you spend with your family, especially the quality time, meaning you being in the same room with your family is not counted unless you guys are engaged into something in quality time together. Shower, bathroom, getting dressed. How much time do you spend on your deen, meaning reading your Qur'an, taking your class, studying your deen, finding out more. A lot of things we are ignorant about as far as I do. So how much time have you allocated to your deen? Exercise, taking care of your body, your health, your meals, your cooking time, and you want to write those down. And sometimes what you could do is just analyze one day or two and then average it out for a week. That's something else you could do as well if you don't want to do it for every day. You could do it from 1 or 2 days and then average it out. And then also, I just had laundry here. Some of us have to go to the laundromat and then fold, and it takes some time. Socializing, how much time do you spend socializing a week? Be more careful about that. Being on the social media and browsing internet and all these things. How much time do you spend on that? Watching TV, maybe. How much time do you spend on that? So talking on the phone, you just want to analyze your time and see, okay, in this 168 hours, how is my time allocated? This is a game changer, sisters. If you're able to do this, this is definitely a game changer because it opens your eyes as to, okay, after everything that okay, where else am I spending my time and why am I spending so much time on this versus that, right? So this is what we're gonna go into next. Okay, so let's go into the next slide. What you will be asked about. Ya Allah, the day we're going to be resurrected, sisters, the first thing we are going to be asked about is how we worshiped Allah, and more specifically, as-salah, And subhanAllah, the angels, it says in the hadith that we're not going to even make a step until we are asked about our salah. And the angels, there's nothing else we can bring instead of the salah. We can't say, oh, but I gave so much zakat, I treated people for free, I took care of my parents. No, all that will be looked after the salah account. And so the salah account is going to be the first thing that we're going to be asked about. So they're going to look, the angels are going to look at our account of salah as far as the obligatory salah. And then they will be looking at any additional optional prayers that we made if obligatory salah is deficient. So deficient in so many ways, right? Do we know Do we first pray on time? Do we know when we make a mistake in salah? Do we know the pillars of salah? Do we know how to, correct the mistake in salah? I think there's so many things that we need to know about salah. Are we aware of these things? Because that is part of making our salah either good or deficient. Not counting the khushu part of it. So how much time do we dedicate in making sure that we can answer these questions when we are resurrected? Because we can't come back after we're gone. SubhanAllah. And we just buried a brother today. Ya Allah, make it easy on us. Allahumma ameen. The next slide is we also going to be asked about how we please our spouse. And believe me, I'm not even talking about the bedroom, right? That is obvious when we say pleasing your spouse. Obviously, yes, being available to your spouse and to satisfy his needs and your needs, mashallah. But I'm not even addressing that area. I'm talking about, is your spouse happy when he's with you? Are you somebody who nags and complains and always, criticize or after him? Are you somebody who cheers him up, makes him smile, makes him laugh, makes him happy to see you? The way you dress at home, the way you receive him, how his house is. Is it pleasant to come home to? Does it smell good? Is it clean? Do you feed him when he's hungry? Do you advise him? Are you concerned about his day and what he, faces outside and all that? Basically, how are you, how pleases your spouse with you? Because you know what, sisters, there's a powerful hadith that I always definitely think about, and I even tell my husband sometimes, I say, even if you're upset with me, if I die before you, please just be pleased, just have mercy on the sister. Have mercy on the sister that's trying to go to Jannah. But there is a particular hadith that I would like to read to you, because this is definitely a great motivation for me, and maybe it would be for you as well. So it says that Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when a woman prays her 5 prayers, her obligatory prayers, fasts her month, meaning Ramadan, guards her chastity, her hijab, and obeys her husband, then it will be said to her, enter paradise from whichever gate you wish. All 8 gates of Jannah will be available for her. SubhanAllah, she just chooses which gate she wants to enter. Who does not want this? Now, this is huge, sisters. This is huge. So we already saw the first question, like, how did we worship our Lord? So that is taken care of. Now, how do we please our spouse? Because if we die with our spouse being pleased with us, SubhanAllah, and we took care of the ibadah part, all the 8 gates of Jannah will be calling us, and we just have to choose which one we want to enter. This is entering Jannah with style, SubhanAllah, may Allah give us that. May Allah give us that. Allahumma ameen. The next slide is talking about how you raise your children. This is something that we're going to be asked if you know the hadith of the shepherd. I think I mentioned this in the webinar, and you still have available the recording. So go back to it, inshallah. If not, just come to me and I will share the hadith with you. We are all assigned an area of responsibility, and for the Muslim woman, it is her household and her children, and she's going to be asked about that. So how much time you spend with your children, how are you raising them? Is the TV raising them? Is somebody else raising them? We need to figure this out. What we're going to be asked about also is how we maintain our household, as I just mentioned. Another question, that we'll be asked is how we stayed in our homes and how we exited our homes. So, we know that definitely the wives of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah told them to stay in their houses. So the thing is, and not to expose themselves like the time of ignorance. As a Muslim woman, we should not look at this ayah in the Qur'an and say, oh, this is for the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It doesn't apply to us. SubhanAllah. We need to monitor our ins and outs of our homes. We need to understand one thing. As Muslim women, we are very precious. Allah considers us very precious. And so because of that, there's so many things in place, so many commands and rules that are in place to preserve us, to preserve our chastity, to preserve our shyness, to preserve our purity, right? So the Muslim woman is really, really, really precious and needs to be guarded. And something that is precious is not exposed, is not easily accessible. You know, something that is precious, go to any designer store right now and try to see if you can just, access their most expensive items. No, it's going to be under lock and key. And if you want to see, they will say, okay, let me open and show you. Whether it's a purse, even if you buy shoes, certain shoes are going to be in some kind of cloth, right? Even the purses will be in some kind of cloth. All that to preserve the leather or whatever expensive. It's expensive, it's precious, so they want to preserve it. So we are more precious than these things, right? And so we're not supposed to be just out there all the time exposed to the environment. Now, if you're working outside your home, I'm not saying don't work outside your home, but I'm saying when you go out, know how you go out. Monitor. You shouldn't be always out. You shouldn't be always outside, always mingling with the crowd, with people, with always being exposed to other men that are not your husband. You need to monitor that, inshallah, because we are going to be asked about these things, sisters. So, another question is how we serve and treat our parents. This is something else that we are going to be asked about. Allah says, don't even say oof to your parents, and lower your wings to them, like humble yourself. And with our generation, our older generation, our parents and grandparents, they were raised, subhanAllah, they had the right tarbiyah. Our generation, is really hard to find somebody with that level of respect. And, I'm talking about myself first and foremost. Sometimes I speak to my mom and I'm raising my voice. I don't even know I'm being, I'm raising my voice. It's a big deal. And my husband will be like, you're raising your voice, and then I will watch myself again. So it's like, but it's not, I have to pay attention. I have to be careful, right? Just because of this ayah, not because of anything else, but because Allah commands me to do so. And so how we serve and treat our parents is something that we're going to be asked about. How we earned and spent our wealth is another thing that we're going to ask about, right? So we want to make sure that we earn halal, and we want to make sure that we spend on halal. And you can look up Surah Al-Takathur about piling up this dunya, competing. This is something that is not going to lead us to Jannah, so we have to be careful about that. And also the poor, they have a right to our wealth, zakat, and we have to pay the zakat and all of these things. So we have to find out. If we don't know, we need to find out. We need to have time allocated to find that out. And how we spend our time. We talked about that at the beginning, right? How we spend our time. We are going to be asked about that, subhanAllah. How we took care of our health. Our body has rights over us. We are going to be asked about this. How we treated our fellow Muslims and non-Muslims. So did we backbite people? Did we look down about people? How did we treat our fellow Muslims and non-Muslims? We are definitely going to be asked about that. And I will refer you to Surah Humaza and Surah Hujurat for these. If you could read the meaning and the tafsir, subhanAllah, you will find out, how we are supposed to treat especially our fellow Muslims. These are just a few things I wanted to share with you. And so now that you know that you have all these rights on you, you go back to your schedule and go back to how you're allocating your time right now and realign it to fit what will be asked about on the Day of Judgment. This is the tip that I have for you. This is my advice, my sincere advice to you. And know that Jannah is surrounded by obstacles and hellfire is surrounded by desires. Always following our desires cannot help us, sisters. It will not help us at all. Go to Surah Nazi'at towards the end and read what it says. We need to control our desires to match the pleasure of Allah. And if we do that, know that this, however, is the ultimate way to success. So these are my tips for you. If you ever wonder, I don't have time, I'm too busy, my husband is not happy because I'm not spending time, I feel guilty because I'm not spending time with my children, I'm working so much, I'm always running, I don't even have time to work out. Go back to your schedule and make these adjustments. First, your ibadah. First and foremost, your ibadah. Go next, your spouse, your children, your parents, you know, your then look at maybe your work. Okay, and then how you treat Muslims and your deen number one, definitely number one. So sisters, I hope this was beneficial to you, inshallah. Any good is from Allah, any mistake is from me and the devil. May Allah forgive me. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.